Good morning. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Open Pagan Church. Yeah, hope everybody's doing well. A little early, we're just 30 minutes past the hour, getting fired up. Looks like we got a couple watching. What's been going on? We're, I think we're in the last weekend of the first month of 2019, last weekend in January. Hope everyone's new year is starting out well, or as well as can be expected, as it were. Well, last broadcast we talked about what are your expectations of a church? What are your expectations of a pagan church? Good morning. Well, this week I want to talk about what is religion to you. Now, I know that me personally, I have always had a serious separation between religion and um, religion and spirituality. Well, good morning, Caroline. Right, so I think we got Clint, we got Cindy, we got Miss Caroline this morning, and welcome to you all. We'll have a few more stragglers come bubbling in a bit late. So, what is religion? Well, to me, religion has always been, like I say, the the political end of it, the organizational structure, such as my core philosophy is paganism. Um, my um, my mother's core philosophy, she would say, is Catholic. Stepmom's core philosophy, she would say, is Methodist. And but even though their core philosophies are Christian, their religion is Christian. Their denomination would be that of a part of that religion. Wonderfully confusing, clear as mud, as it were. And I mean, if you are a religious person, are you not more into the political architecture of the belief system? Now that may light some of you up. Well, if it does, let's talk about it. We got a chat area down there. Just hammer on it. Don't just exit the window. Don't just close the channel because we might have said something offensive. We talk about topics that need to be talked about. What is religion to you, especially in 2019? Well, um, I know that most jobs, especially here in Texas, most jobs, it is against company policy to discuss religion, sexual orientation, or political preference. That's most jobs here in Texas. I know the one that I work for. It's in the policy manual, but they don't really beat you over the head with it because the company I work for, they advertise being a faith-based organization, right? Most companies I've seen that advertise being a faith-based organization end up being a money-based organization. I, Come on, I mean, if you're a company, you're not going to survive unless you're making money. But religion, like I said in the top area here, um, it's become something more and more people avoid even the use of the word religion. Why is that? I mean, really, uh, why are people so turned off about the topic? Well, it's kind of a rhetorical question, isn't it? Because most of us, um, in the pagan philosophy, we know why most people are turned off about the word religion, the conversation religious, and the philosophy of religion. Religion really doesn't have a philosophy. It has become a political activist term in which for people to gain control over a particular situation. I get it, okay? I don't believe that we should force kids to pray in school. School is for education. If you want prayer, go to church. If you want prayer, pray to yourself. We do, pagans do. What is casting on altar but saying a prayer? What is wishing someone well but saying a prayer? It's all down to semantics and interpretation, isn't it? Well, the further and further I got back in my 20s, damn, that was a long time ago. Anyway, the further and further I got back in my 20s away from mainstream religion, and the closer and closer I got to accepting a philosophical fact of who and what I am. Well, in the beginning, I found myself really angry and really, excuse me, I found myself really angry and really agitated with the word religion, with the discussion religion, with the whole thought of being religious. And I've had a lot of people tell me through the years, I refuse to belong to any fundamental religious organization. All right, I get it. I do. I understand. Been there, done that. But eventually, mind you, if you are a spiritual person, if you are a spiritual person, you're going to come around to some type of religious based philosophy. Now I realize that many would argue with me on that. But if you involve yourself in paganism, I say that like it's two words. If you involve yourself in paganism, pagan events, pagan philosophy, pagan websites, pagan groups, and you interact with other pagans and you're getting involved in spite of yourself into the, if you will, the political circles of paganism, then you're mm, involving yourself into the religion of pagan. Damn, that's a shame. Um, so where to from here? What do we do with this word religion? Well, I don't believe we should shove it down people's throats, although it's human nature that we do. Something I try very hard not to do is shove it down people's throats. Now, in retrospect, and all admittance, and I'll own it, new glasses, I'm still getting used to them. So if I keep adjusting them, I'm sorry. I need to add a little thickness here so it gets them up a little bit. Yeah. Um, in retrospect, and all admittance, and I have to own it, when I first started out in the pagan philosophy and accepted who and what I am, I was a bit of an in your face pagan thumper, I guess you could say. Isn't that a oxymoron? Um, I was real political. I was an activist. I was very into the shoving paganism down people's throats. And it was mostly just simply because I was sick and tired of the repression and discrimination against people of non mainstream religions. Well, I get it. But at the same time, we don't need to shove any religion down anybody's throat. We don't. The media does it. Politicians do it. I've had I've had morning shows and morning programs that I've had morning shows and morning programs on one of my favorite channels here in the Dallas area that I like to listen to the news on in the morning when I'm at work. Well, it's a shame because there are certain times of the morning that one of the morning shows that come on used to have really cool interviews with people. They had really cool guests. They talked about current events and things going on. Over the last 6 to 8 months, though, they've turned into a Bible thumping, beat you over the head, praise God, praise this and praise that, and blessed this and blessed that, and God will save your soul. Well, no, damn it, it's in the middle of the week. It's not Sunday church, and I did not turn on a interview program to listen to a bunch of hoo-ha preaching. So at that particular time of the morning, I just flipped the channel, um, changed channels. And, I agree with Dave. I say whatever melts your butter. Yeah. But I don't, religion is something that it's very public. Now, religion, okay? Not spirituality, not spiritualism, but the politics, the word, the action of religion is very public. I run a very public open pagan church here where you don't have to be a member of any said particular group to join the video feed. I upload to several sites that the channels are wide open. I don't care who you are. If you want to partake in our broadcast, we are completely open. If you come in and you start talking crap and spreading drama, poof, we'll just kick you. Done, gone. The core of the matter, the core of the matter is religion is not the problem. And we know this. Religion is not the issue. And I say again, we know this, or we should. The issue is how people use it. Now, this is the day and age, and it has been for the last year or so, where people have gotten so hung up in, well, he offended me. Well, she offended me. Well, they offended us. Well, I'm offended by your comments. You shouldn't say those comments. I'm offended by your actions. Therefore, you should not act. Well, if me getting on a public bus offends you, there's a window. You can jump out it, or I can help you out it. whatever. So, see, my point is we have become such an offensive behavioral society that you almost just cannot say good morning to someone without them thinking you're trying to offend them. And I have had it happen. One of the big jokes at work is God's help you if you look at someone when they come in and say, good morning, you look nice today. Oh, hail. You will get crucified, roastified, and shish kebabbed over the nearest HR that they can find. And religion is the same way. And you really don't want to discuss religion at work. It gets downright stupid. Now, I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate to have a boss that understands that I'm pagan, and he understands that there are certain times during the year that I like to take off for the Sabbath. Now, I don't get crazy. I don't expect every single solitary Sabbath off like some people do. That gets a little redundant. But there are a couple of Sabbaths each year that I really like to have off. I like to have a couple of days before, or a couple of days after, or one before and one after, just whatever. And he understands that, and he's fine with it. My particular crew that I supervise, I see there's me, I'm pagan. There's one young man that is a borderline evangelistic Christian, which I find really kind of cool. Because have you ever heard of a open-minded evangelistic Christian? This young man is. He's very forward-thinking. Then we have one that claims Christian, I think. We have an atheist, and we have another young man that is a standard everyday Christian. But all of these gentlemen and my crew are all men. Not a single one of these gentlemen repress the other, holler, I'm offended with your conversations. They listen to and interact with the conversations that are had about religious rhetoric. Now, we try to keep it to a low roar because my particular line of desk is in a very large room with a bunch of other offices. And well, yours truly's voice travels like you would not believe. Yeah. Jimmy says, half the folk at work are afraid I'm going to curse them. What about? Poof. All of your hair is going to fall off. Poof. Funny part is, eventually all your hair will fall off. Shame on you for cursing people for what's going to happen anyway. I curse you, you're going to get old. I've seen people do that, and I've seen people freak out because they were cursed to get old. Um, okay. Curses is a topic for another conversation. Hmm. Yeah, well. Religion is and always has been, as long as I can remember, has been a very volatile topic of conversation. It's, yeah, you will catch hell for being um, admittedly pagan in some place. I've lost jobs, two, in fact. Um, I've lost two jobs because of my religion. However, although unfortunately I couldn't prove it, I didn't have the money for the lawyer to fight the discrimination. It's the way it is. But it goes to show you, and we got enough karma to deal with already. Yeah, well, don't need any more. Yeah, I hear you. Um, we deal with everyday religious oppression, religious discrimination, hate crimes because of religion, religious crimes. And I mean, it doesn't take a genius. Now, it doesn't take a genius to look up on the internet hate crimes, religious crimes, crimes committed because of religion. I looked up several of them this morning, just googling around and playing around. You know, sometimes when I'm going to do a topic like this, I like to pull up a couple of 2 or 3 pages for people to browse at. Well, many. Um, there were so many pages of articles done on religious oppression and religious repression, religious discrimination. So we live in a world not just today. Understand that human society, as far back as you can check, is not as bad as it was 3,000 plus years ago. But since the advent, and I'm going to say it, but since the advent of Christianity, religious oppression and religious repression has quadrupled on a yearly basis. And some of that we can mark down to population growth. Then you get into the per capita thing, right? Where if per capita generally means, and I say generally, if you have a population of 1,000 people and 5 people out of that 1,000 people are into discrimination, bigotry, and what have you, then if you have 2,000 people, you have 10 people. If you have 3,000 people, you have 15 people. You see where I'm going there. It goes up increments of 5 per 1,000. Now, this is the this depends on hell, all kinds of math and other crap that I'm not into. But when you hear the term per capita, that means that the higher the religion goes, or the higher the population goes, the more numbers you're going to have, of course. Mm-hmm. I Caroline, I totally agree. She says, I don't want my kids to be scared of who or what they are. She says, I'm worried about them being hurt by others for their religious ideals. Yes. And, excuse me, we have a 13-year-old daughter that has been raised in a what we call a combination home, right? Okay. My parents are lesbian. They've been together 40 years. Um, my wife and I are in somewhat of an open marriage. We've been together 15 years. My wife and I are pagan. My parents are Christian, but they're not. shove it down your throat Christian. Now, my daughter has been, um, she's been allowed and recommended. Go to this church with your friends, go to that church with your friends, go to this church with your friends, come to our church with us. Listen, and therein lies the number one most important clue. One very important word when it comes to religious beliefs that a whole lot of households do not even mention. Listen, I don't have to agree with you, but I will listen. I don't have to convert to your way of thinking, but I will listen. I don't even have to like to be in the same space with you, but if I am, and fate, spirit guides, the cosmos, whatever, puts us there, I will listen to a degree. And herein lies the caveat. Each and every one of us has to set our boundaries, how far we're willing to go and how much we're willing to listen to of someone else's rhetoric. Right? Well, and see, here's one of the things. Um, we're almost 30 minutes past the hour. We're halfway into the broadcast. And I want to move into, we kind of laid the foundation and the basis. And I don't blame you a bit for being afraid. Where I was going a while ago is we keep a very close eye on the things our daughter says about school, about bullies in school, about the different events and things that are going on. Her friends know that we're pagan. Her friends know that her grandparents are lesbian, and they've been together since Moby Dick was a minnow. And so we pay attention. We have always taught her, don't hide who you are, don't hide who we are, don't hide who your grandparents are, both your grandparents here and your grandparents further east. You know, she has a really lovely set of grandparents and family that live in East Texas. They're good people. They're Christian. They know that my wife is pagan. They know that we're pagan. And they know that we are raising our daughter to be open minded. Oh my God. Should we raise our kids to be open minded? Yes, I think we should. We don't raise her to fear any god. We don't raise her to fear any goddess. We raise her to respect and appreciate. What a concept. But yes, I totally agree. We we carry the same fear that every other parent does of sending their kids to school. Either either because they're different. Um, the LGBT community. I can't say Q because they're not queer. I cannot say LGBTQ community because they're not queer. They're not weird. They're LGBT, uh, lesbian, gay, um, LGB, bisexual, and transsexual. Hell, I had to stop and think about that one. But the LGBT community have always been there. Always. Since the beginning of human time. They've always been there. Come on, people, this isn't something new. But the religious rhetoric of some of the backwater religions out there, they get they jump up and down and scream and holler and stomp and what have you Open minded to me means willingness to learn and ask questions. Yes, Doris, absolutely. It means to listen, ask questions. Oh my God. But here we are, like I say, 30 minutes into the hour. And we we've come full circle, I think, as a society. We're 2019. It seems weird at now 57 years old to say the year of 2019. I was born in 62. I was raised in the era where we had weekly fallout drills. We were in the height of the Cold War, if you will. And you were not allowed to have an opinion in the 60s and 70s. It started getting a little better in the 80s, and by the 90s it was a little better. And early 2000s kicked it in the butt, man. I mean, it just, the freedom of philosophical understanding finally started taking a hold. But here we are in 2019, and we're still having to have the conversation of discrimination. We're still having to have the conversation of bigotry. We're still having to have the conversation of acceptance of people for who and what they are. And I almost find that depressing. Not surprising, mind you, but depressing, to say the least. Religion as a term has become hated and feared. It really has. And the one I love the most is, I sit here and yes, the age of offensiveness comes in. Yeah, really, the age of offensiveness really come in heavy in between '08 and 2010. So between '08 and 2010, the age of offensiveness just went crazy. And by last year and the year prior, it was just stupid. Or it's stupid to begin with, but it really got crazy. And it's going to get crazier before it gets better because the crap that is being posted on social networks just some of it's laughable. It really is. But when we think about where we're at in 2019, it's actually kind of pathetic, I think, when we're still having to have the discussion about religious oppression, religious depression, religious rhetoric, religious discrimination. Hell, it's no wonder society hates the word religion. I used to. I used to be a very big proponent. I almost never used the word religion. I converted my conversation to I follow the spiritualism of pagan philosophy. My path within the pagan philosophy, my denomination, if you will, is shaman. I just simply would not, refuse to use, and not gonna use the word religion. And about '05, '06, I come to a realization that the word religion is not the problem. It's not, really. Um, the word religion is not the issue. It's like many other words. Let's take the definition of bitch, for example. The definition of bitch is a female dog. You talk to uneducated people, they think the definition of a bitch is their next door neighbor. Yeah, I said that. But anyway, it really comes full circle to being an idea of education. And unfortunately, and I say this with all um, care in my heart, really, the unfortunate part of the global education still comes from small village mentality idealisms. Small village mentality of hearsay is more important, drama is more important than the truth of the matter or listening to all sides of a story. The word religion, the word religion is not a problem. You can Google the definition of religion all day long, and theoretically, it is the combination of like minds, if you will. The much kind of like church. Church is a congregation of like-minded individuals. Now, many of the dictionaries, um, unless they are written in a non-Christian philosophy and they're written in a more open philosophy, they still hang on real close to the ancient terms where if you weren't Christian, you needed to be dead. And unfortunately, there are a number of people on the planet today that still follow that philosophy of if you're not Christian, you should be dead. But therein by reinforces and doubly reinforces the hatred of the word, the term religion. Respect is not taught. This is a change, the dynamic of this. Well, yeah, you're right. Respect is not taught. We're one of the things I've always tried to. I'm not going to use the word preach, but one of the things I've always tried to enforce and reinforce in the House of Pagans and Open Pagan Church is respect. It's the respect and the acknowledgement of other people's rights to think and believe as they see fit and feel as they see fit. Now, here's herein lies another variable um, interpretation, if you will, of a phrase. And I want to I want you to think about something, and I'm going to kind of throw this out there, right? Here's a phrase that I have had used on me multiple times. I find your religion to be offensive and to be damaging and to be dangerous to children. Period. I will say that again. I have been told many times by other people. I find your religion to be offensive and dangerous to children. And some years ago, have a good day, Caroline. Join us anytime. You're always welcome. Welcome aboard, Teresa. You joined a little late, but hey, you're always welcome. The the phrase that someone could tell me, I find your religion offensive and dangerous to children, and it reinforces the fact that the word religion has become hated by most people. I think religion is what we make of it. And these very individuals that, way back in the day, it used to really make me angry and I would come off at them. Anymore, I ask them question, the one question they refuse to answer. Why? Why is the pagan religion offensive and dangerous to children? Seriously. When the very word religion strikes fear, anxieties, the sheer word religion strikes anger in most folk. I don't want to talk about religion. I don't talk about religion. My religion is mine and none of yours, and just stay out of my religion. Well, okay. But if someone sparks a conversation with me about religion, they remove their right to come off on me for disagreeing with them. Now, I want everybody to hear that right. If someone comes off on me or goes off on me for disagreeing with them about their religion, I find it funny. It used to make me angry, but I now find it very pathetic and funny. And sometimes I'll giggle at them a little bit. Now, you want to really piss them off, um, giggle at them because they're going off about uh, you being wrong and how wrong you are. But they still never answer why. Why is the pagan religion dangerous to children? I've had a couple come back with, and you're going to love this, right? You're going to love this. Ready? 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 They say pagans sacrifice children to their gods. All right. As soon as everybody gets through laughing so hard you're falling out of your chair, When you get back up and get in your chair, I'll continue. Yes. I have actually had people tell me that the reason they hate the pagan religion is because we sacrifice children. Um, no. I've been doing this well over 20 years, and I've yet, not yet, found a pagan group that sacrifices children. So when I question them on it, where where did you hear that pagans sacrifice children? I watch TV. I watch movies. I watch the news. And whatever is on TV is real and it's movies and it's yeah and no. At that point, as far as I'm concerned, the conversation is over because the individual that I am talking to has already proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are dumb as a stump, don't have the intelligence of a rock, and have less intuitive education than an amoeba. And if you don't know what an amoeba is, Google it. So at that point, the conversation is over. Hello, Sean. I have always said, and I will say it again, and if it offends anybody, tough titty. There is no cure for stupid. And if people, and I'm sorry, but people coming into the pagan philosophy, people coming into the pagan haha religion, thinks that that's what we do, then they need to keep right on moving unless they're going to come in, sit down, shut up, and locate an education. Because if anybody's going to come into the pagan religion thinking that we sacrifice children, I've even heard that pagans oppress women. Okay, most pagan ideologies are goddess based. I can tell you my household is a matriarchal system. How in the hell is a pagan religion, any denomination thereof, going to be oppressive of women when most pagan denominations are matriarchal, not patriarchal? And when you explain to them that that is not a pagan thing, nor has it ever been a pagan thing as far as back as I've researched, they really get pissed. Yes. I like that, Jimmy. I like that. Excuse me. He says, I've never sacrificed children, but I have explained to mine that some species do eat their own offspring. Absolutely, that is a scientific fact. That's not a pagan thing. It's a species thing. People, anyway. Well, here we are, aren't we? We're 20 minutes past the hour. We've had a good conversation about religion. And one of the things, one of the points, one of the biggest points I'd like to make about the word religion. The word religion is like any other word, it's just a word. It's how we use it, it's how we philosophically understand the term. I want to say, don't don't shy away from the word, the term, the conversation, religion. Go into it with an understanding, an open mindedness, and an education of what it is you're talking about. And to be honest, I have studied very little of the Muslim faith, but I have studied enough of the Muslim faith to know that they are not what people make them out to be. I've studied enough of the Jewish faith to know that they are not what people make them out to be. And well, I've been studying the pagan philosophy for over 20 years. We are not what people make us out to be. So the term religion is not the problem. It's the lack of education of society that makes the term religion the problem. Be who you are, walk the talk, right? Stand up for what you believe, but do it with respect. And I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for interacting. On our archives, click like or don't. But if you click don't like, tell me why. Have enough guts to stand up for what you don't like as well as what you do. Thank you all for watching Open Pagan Church. We'll see you next week, right here, same time, with hopefully a mind bending topic.